Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our Greenleaf Season 5, Episode 4 reaction. We are pretty much at the halfway point of this season now, and this episode is kind of weird to me because I feel like they sort of tied up a lot of different storylines. Yeah, they've left some stuff open, and we'll talk probably more about that in the preview, but it feels like there's just kind of a wide field of possibilities, and I don't know which way they're going anymore.
Yeah, this episode felt like they were laying out sort of groundwork for the second act coming in here, where a lot of stuff got wrapped up. We're moving into a new territory with everything that's going on with Tara, so it's going to be interesting to see what's going on.
It's kind of like they built the first floor of a house out of brick, and they haven't started building the second floor yet, and you're like, okay, are you gonna do more brick? Are you gonna do wood paneling? Are you gonna just like paint a mural up there? Like, we don't
Paneling?
know.
How old is this house?
I don't know architecture. That's the point here. Well, anyway, if you guys do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and be sure to hit that notification bell. I know that's something that doesn't exist in the same time period, apparently, as wood paneling, but it helps us very, very much.
If you like wood paneling,
Okay.
hit that notification bell.
If you don't, also, please. Okay, anyway, yeah.
Okay, so first we're going to talk about AJ because it's kind of strange that we have spent so much time with him and now it feels like it's kind of been wrapped up. I mean, he's decided that he wants to go with his dad. He doesn't want to stay with Grace. And the reason he doesn't want to stay is because he told his story and said, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to be hounded about it anymore. I'm done with it. I've said my piece. Let's move on. She, of course, is still worried because with him no longer talking about it, he's not getting any treatment. He's not getting any help. He's not getting any medication. He's just not doing anything. And so, of course, she's worried and she's going to keep pushing that. And he's like, and I'm out. So that's what's happening. But even though the episode kind of started really rough with the two of them and things have not been that easy for AJ and Grace, understandably, that last scene with the two of them sitting on the bed and she's really understanding where he's coming from at that point. She's not trying to push him anymore and she's just having a moment with him. When he walked away and he came back and gave her that kiss on the head, I was like, oh, yes. Okay, this is so great. I don't need to see them get to the finish line of like, oh, we're, mom and son. But that stepping stone of like, there's hope. I love that. And if we end up in a situation where we don't see AJ again, and that's not what I want, but if that is where we are, that, and we haven't seen the preview yet, so this is us going off of that, then I would be okay with that because it feels like a stepping stone.
I call it progress with a question mark at the end. So it's like progress? It's something where I think it's a nice moment for the two of them. I think AJ has to realize that it's kind of an unrealistic expectation when you say, I'm going to drop this big emotional bomb on everybody that pertains to my own well-being, and I'm never going to talk about it again. It's really hard to then expect that someone like Grace, who obviously cares a lot about AJ, that she is going to be all right with never updating it or never following it up or anything like that. Like, she's inevitably going to be concerned. I think they played a lot of that really well because you could see Grace was trying to restrain herself a little bit. Like, you could tell that she knew that this is kind of choppy waters to dive into for her. But ultimately, I think this is just the way that it was going to have to go. It was going to have to go in a situation where she was still going to bring up things. I think he starts to understand that. Doesn't mean that he wants to live with her. It doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to see him moving forward. I think we will, but it's just the situation where I think they understand each other's reality.
I think the real issue, the real underlying issue is that he has felt abandoned by her over and over. Even when he came back, he was being hidden for a while. And I think he just doesn't, relationship is going to take time. It is just not going to be Grace just jumps in and is mom now and we're all in on everything. She does need to slow it down and build the trust. And I understand that there's an illness here, but at the same time, that doesn't change their relationship. It is going to take time, and she's got to take it slow.
And I think the good thing, I guess, for Grace is that she's got a lot of other stuff to occupy her mind for a little while, including Edenville ending, including all the stuff that's going on. You're like, where's Darius, by the way, and all of this? Darius is just sort of like off into a void in a lot of this episode. I love Darius. I want to see Darius around, so...
Yeah, at least he's brought Grace some very interesting information, which is that Phil's mom, who has been passed away for 20 years, her signature is all over this Edenvale lending thing. So that is really, really interesting. But the thing that is even more interesting is now we also have Phil's dad is somewhat knowledgeable about something that's going on, but he's not sharing with Grace.
What do you think about Phil's dad's 3 strikes and you're out phone rule? Because I'm going to throw something at you here. I think that Grace could have answered those questions almost any different way, and he still could have done that. He could have like the double-sided coin that was always what you didn't call.
Oh, for sure. I'm a pastor. All right, that's 1 strike. Well, what if I'm a pilot? Nope, that's 2.
I like hot dogs with ketchup instead of mustard. That's 3. Boom.
Yeah. So it was interesting. I obviously think we're going to see Phil's dad again. This is not the end of it, but it is going to probably take Grace going to see him or like actually having that sit down, because he's just going to keep hanging up the phone on her now at this point. But yeah. I will say that it opened up Grace and Charity, which is something that has been closed off since like the beginning of this show. Like even the first sort of re-meeting when Grace came home, like Charity was straight up, I don't need you, don't defend me, I don't want to hear from you. And now Grace has been so mad at her. I mean, everybody's been mad at her, but it was kind of nice to see the ice melt a little bit.
It's good that we have once again progress, ? Like that is the theme of all this. Like I am nervous about this actually staying stable for a long period of time, but having them kind of come together in this moment is important. I think Charity is starting to just realize that everything with Phil and Judy and Bob and all of that sort of nonsense just ain't worth anything. Like you've got an offer over here from Lady May that's appealing in its own right, and you know they may all not like each other sometimes, but they love each other, and that's more than Bob and Judy, who don't love anything other than Bob and Judy, who according to Judy she is more important than anything other than God. So
oh my God, Judy.
Yeah, Judy's got a lot going on in this episode in between the Charity and then the Phil don't want you, Judy.
Yeah, and the thing I will say about Charity in this episode, which is something that I hadn't seen before, was I feel like I saw her actually be like a pastor in this. That whole speech that she gave to Phil, I felt like she was preaching, and I was just like, this is it. This is what nobody is seeing in Charity, including me. I had not seen this in her. I've seen her give speeches before. I'm like, eye roll. Okay, Charity. But that speech that she gave him proved to me that she's got something in her. So I'd like to see her have a shot at actually running her own show for just one time.
The only way I can sort of like correlate it is sort of like speaking from your head versus speaking from your heart. I feel like Charity, and a lot of her moments, she's like overthinking things, or she's trying to process that, or she's trying to deliver what she thinks a preacher should say. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, that's great. You can sort of paint by numbers, but the best art sometimes is abstract and weird, and sometimes you're just throwing a bunch of stuff at a wall and it ends up looking really cool at the other side of it. But I felt like it was genuine when she was talking, and I was like, all right, Charity, you don't need to have a plan, you just need to be Charity, and we just need an opportunity to get to know you. And I'm all for Phil being told off as well in a lot of different ways. The guy had some stuff coming, and I don't want to say I believe in Charity yet, because I don't want to dig myself a hole that I can't get out of here, but I'm believing in Charity right now.
Yeah, Yeah, and it was good to see her leave. I mean, obviously, Judy was like, "You're fired, and you can't fire me. I quit." I was just like, "Oh my goodness, Charity is such
yes, do it. Do it. You can't fire me. I quit."
But it's still good that she's not part of it anymore. It was long overdue. She really didn't need to stay there after everything. She's just torturing herself. I mean, this church was not going to be the same after Sunday anyways. Yeah. It seems like we've got like one more day left before maybe, we're going to find out if Phil's dad can do something about this. I don't know.
Leave it to Grace, leave it to Darius. They'll figure something out here. And Charity, maybe you've got enough ammunition from some of your conversations over time that you can help in some way. But, protect yourself. Try to just find a way to breathe a little bit easier, but of course you can't breathe too easy because this is Greenleaf, and you still have Bishop and devastating family secrets, and then Jacob and Carissa around every corner.
Okay, we gotta talk about that. I mean, that scene with Carissa and Lady May was something I never expected to see that. But the way that Carissa had laid it out, where she was kind of like, this has been going on for years upon years upon years. It even happened with your cook. Like, it's never stopped sort of thing. And you could see Lady May taking it in more of a reflection of her and how she's raised her son and how it's turned out like this. Like, it just didn't end up the way I think she thought her son would be. Sort of just a different man that would treat women with respect and treat, himself with more respect in that regard. So that conversation was really interesting, especially afterwards when Lady May told Jacob off and then said the same thing to him. Like, is this how you respect? This is how you respect your wife. This is how you respect the other women. This is all a reflection of what? How you think about me, kind of thing. It's a very, very well written, good conversation.
It's a great scene, and it's a reminder that I think Jacob is a mess, and none of this takes away from the fact that a lot of the things Carissa has been doing as of late are really, really terrible, including using wills as blackmail and all of this other nonsense. But they both can be wrong. Like, Jacob can be wrong for everything that he has done in the past. Carissa can be wrong now. Jacob just has to sort of find a way to own his own part of it, and I don't think he's fully there yet. I'm gonna do the recurring theme here of like he's gone in the room. He stood there. He said nothing.
Yeah, he's done nothing. That was nothing.
But he has at least listened to the conversation, and maybe this won't go anywhere else, and then we can just all shake our heads vehemently at Jacob once more. But you have a map now, Jacob. You just actually have to decide if you want to follow it or be that person who's like, nah, I don't want to listen to any directions. I'm just going to do things my own way. And then guess what? It's going to get worse for you.
I was just really glad that at the end of that conversation that he was having with Carissa, where she laid out what it was she needed from him, and he's still not there. He's not able to give it. That she just walked away and was like, this is over. Yes, it is over. Goodness. And it has been over since we met them. Like, we met them, and he's cheating on her, and then he's cheated again, and he even cheated before we even met them, and now she's cheating. Like, guys, please just get a divorce. Everybody move on. It's got to be done. So I'm really glad that they kind of got to that conclusion that no more blackmail.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah, and now we just have to deal with the Tara James mess. Like, it's all right, we've resolved this part of the mess, but now here's a whole new mess, and here's the Bishop Greenleaf phone call cliffhanger at the end of it, because the show cannot end without something that makes you upset for a good week.
Yeah, so we saw Bishop go over to try to unburden his soul and was like, you know what, we're just going to get all the truth out there with Tara. We'll talk about it. We prayed together about it. He came back feeling good. Now she's re-prayed on it and rethought about it, and she's made a phone call. Nobody really knows what's going to go down with this phone call or this meeting, because all she's asked for right now is to meet up and talk about the house. That's it. That's all we know. It could be I want nothing to do with it. It could be I'll see you in court. It could be anything at this point.
This is going to be the biggest test of Bishop as a communicator, perhaps, that we have sort of seen, because can he go into this where Tara's very adversarial towards him? Can he turn that around? Can he get her to see, you know, his own side of the various things that have gone on? Or is it going to be vice versa? It's an intriguing dynamic, and I kind of like that this cliffhanger, it's not life or death, but it's really still
We've
very
had
important.
that already this season.
We don't need to hit the same drum over and over again.
No.
This is like, it's a different beat of the drum, and I like that as an ending to this episode.
So I also want to ask, do you think that we're going to get some sort of redemption arc for Phil? Because it kind of feels like we might be going there when he rejected Judy again.
Oh, it's coming. I feel like the Phil... I don't know if I'm ever going to be the biggest Phil fan. Like, let's put that out there in the world.
I'm not a Phil fan.
No, but I think we're going that way because I just... not Bob. Phil...
You hate Bob.
Yeah, I just like saying Bob at this stage. But, you know, Phil, he's shown that he has a capacity for understanding and a capacity for other people. He's just not acting on it. I think he thinks that what he's doing is actually best, which is really deluded and silly.
He's also incredibly selfish. That it's, you know, he wants, you know, to have some sort of love, but he wants what he wants, and he wants it now. He wants to be, you know, working at this church and being a pastor and going forward that way. And even in the last episode, it kind of felt like he was trying to still have something going on with Charity, where she was just like, I don't know what you're asking for, but no. And Phil is just, he is really, really selfish. And it was so good to see her Charity just tell him off and actually give him a moment of self-reflection. Like, Phil, what are you actually in this for? Do you really want to sort of get out there and you're believing in God and spreading the word, because you're being really selfish?
I think there's a tiny glimmer of good in Phil. He's not showing it, but I think there's something, because with Judy it's just darkness, and with Judy there is no good. I think there's a capacity.
She's not even divorced yet, and she's like living with Phil and doing this with Phil, and she's like, is that because I'm not divorced yet?
No,
yeah, it's not, but that's a reason too, dude.
There's a lot of reasons, Judy. There's a lot of reasons. Let's be real here. But all right, well, let's turn this over to you guys. What did you think about Greenleaf Season 5, Episode 4? Let us know all of your thoughts in the comments. And if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further. Check that link in the description to the store, and we'll see you here next time.